Hey, I'm Dan Leech, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about appraisals and really more specifically, what happens when the appraised value does not come in at least, if not higher, than the actual contract price, the price that the buyer and the seller have agreed to both pay for the house. That can be an issue. And there's three ways to remedy that. There's more, but three basic ways to remedy that. Number one, I'll give you an example. Let's say the house sales price is $200,000. Let's say the appraised value comes in at $180,000. So there's a $20,000 difference, $20,000 deficit. How do you handle that? Well, the buyer can say, hey, you know what? I'm okay. I've got the cash. I'll go ahead and bring in an extra $20,000 and we'll be good. And that's a great scenario. And we would like to have that, but it doesn't happen all the time. The second option is that the buyer can say to the seller, hey, Mr. Seller, I don't have the cash to be able to bring in to make up the difference. Will you go ahead and lower your price $20,000 down to $180,000? And the seller may say, sure, I can do that, no problem. More times than not, the seller is going to say, no, I don't want to do that. You agreed to pay the $200,000, so that's what we're going to stick with. In that case, we will try to negotiate, both the buyer and the seller, to say, hey, let's find a middle ground. Let's find a middle ground where both of us are happy, everybody's happy, and we can get this deal done. That's also the second ideal situation. And most of the time we can work that out. The third scenario is where the seller says, absolutely not, I'm not going to do anything. The buyer says, well, I don't have the money, I'm not going to bring it in. And the deal falls apart and both parties go their separate ways and that's it. So we don't want that to happen. But we do want the deal to go through, but we also don't want the buyer to overpay. And it kind of comes into this situation where it's very important that you have a really good realtor working with you, working for you. So if you're on the buyer side, you want your agent, you want your agent to let you know what the comparable property values are for a similar house in that area. And if all the similar houses are selling for $180,000 and you're paying $200,000, you're probably paying $20,000 too much. And if the seller has got that property listed at $200,000 and the comparable properties are $180,000, they probably have that property listed too high. And so it's very important that on the seller's side, that you have an agent that represents that seller that knows the comps to know, hey, you can't overprice this house because it's not going to appraise. Very, very important that that piece of that puzzle fit in properly, and the agents on both sides need to understand what the comparable property values are. Anyway, hopefully this wasn't too confusing, because it sounds like it's really confusing to me. But anyway, hey, until next time, this is Dan Leech, and I'll talk to you real soon.